Kemp, he'll fall down. What a lob! Oh, Gary Payton to the lob ahead to Kemp. Sparks.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Shawn Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Shawn David.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Shawn David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. Now in my XXL version of NBA Legends talking about NBA superstars, of course I also have to feature the Rain Man. Not only one of my favorite players of all time, but also to me, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players of all time. So again, in this episode, NBA Legends talking about the Rain Man, new clips, a lot of them, also classic clips. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I would say, let's go. Now the first player that we're going to take a look at is Gary Payton. Obviously, we have to take a look at the glove since they were teammates for so many years, and you're going to see him a couple of times, but he does not repeat himself. Anyway, let's start with clip number one.
We had Shawn Kemp on here, and to this day, I have this VCR tape called The Rain Man that I used to look at.
VH?
I got the VH.
You got the VH?
I showed it to
I
him.
still got a machine, a VH.
I still got the TV,
I got mine
the
too.
TV with
Absolutely, with the thing at the bottom.
Combo. They don't know nothing about that.
They don't know nothing about all that.
But I had to show him that I used to watch this tape all the time of him when I was coming up, just to seeing how he was dunking, how he was catching passes, so forth on. In our culture, you know, we definitely want to hoop and we want to be good, but we want not only our peers, but we want our culture to embrace us. You know what I'm saying? It makes us feel like kind of like superheroes.
Right.
You know, to have two iconic, you know, some of the best nicknames in Rain Man and the glove. But how did you feel when you know, now your name is in rap songs, you on the commercials, everybody calling you by your nickname, and you know, just our community really embracing who you are, even though you way up in the Northwest, it was going all the way across the land, no matter where you was. How was that for you?
You know what? It's a transition because you know we never grow up talking about we're gonna be this and be that. I didn't never say I was gonna be a top 75. I never said I was gonna be a Hall of Famer. I didn't know I was gonna be that. I didn't know I was gonna have an opportunity to play with a guy called Shawn Kemp, and his nickname would be the Rain Man, and I'm throwing lobs to him and doing things like that. It's just like with you two. You guys didn't know that y'all was gonna meet and become who y'all were, and y'all became the knuckleheads. It happens, and it's just a fate. And then it's a fate that it happened, and then you took it and we ran with it. In the Northwest, people wasn't even up watching our games because they was sleeping in the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? When our game started, it was 10, 11 o'clock. They was going to bed. So they had to hear about us on Sports Center. When it, and they seen us throwing lobs and doing this. And then they started talking about, who is them two right there? You know what I'm saying? And then they started talking about the Rain Man, the glove, getting it done again. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that. And it was good for us to get that little team and that duel, because then it started happening. It's like, here go a duel that you haven't seen. You're only hearing about Scottie Pippen. You're only hearing about Jordan and Scottie. And you was only hearing about John Stockton and Karl Malone. Then all of a sudden you start hearing about us two, and then we start making it happen, and then it blew up. And that's what it was. We just had a thing for each other to be friends, and then all of a sudden we had people who come and say, man, I'm going to start naming you the glove. This is why we name you the glove, and we're going to name you the Rain Man because you raining with dunks.
I think I could beat Shawn Kemp in a dunk contest. Shawn Kemp was a game dunker. He'd do anything in the game. And he was freaky in dunk contests, but he was a game dunker than me. And I don't know why dunk contests me and him had, he seemed nervous. I'm like, why is Shawn Kemp nervous? He can do whatever he want to do. But he was lightweight nervous. I don't know if it was the pressure because he had lost the year before or the year before. I don't really know. But he seemed a little nervous. nervous. But anyway, going into that, I was like, I'm gonna win the dunk contest. But I knew Shawn Kemp was dangerous. And Harold Miner too, but I was confident because he couldn't go between the legs. So I'm like, I'm gonna bring that on Harold. We both go, between reverses and certain stuff. But I had about 2 or 3 more dunks than Harold. I was confident, but Kemp, I didn't know. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, get it, and I'm telling you, I'm taking it. I'm telling everybody right now. And I just felt like, and I felt like, they're gonna give me my props right now.
And the next player's opinion that we're going to take a look at is from Rasheed Wallace. He loves the Rain Man. I mean, he was always a power forward guy. He loves a lot of his peers, but he has a lot of love for the Rain Man. Let's take a look.
Next question from AD911 says, do both of you have a good Shawn Kemp story?
No.
Nothing comes to mind.
Nah, man. That boy Kemper, boy. That Kemper. That's what we call him, the Kemper.
The Kempers.
The Kempers, boy.
Let me see. Yeah, I got it. Well, I mean, I don't know how good it is, but I remember the first time I played against him. As a high school player, when he was in a dunk contest, him and Kenny Skywalker, Kemp was my favorite dunker. And I say that for the simple fact, I'm like, damn, he's tall like me. He's, 6'10", 6'11", but he jumps out the fucking gym. And when I was in high school, I was able to jump then.
All right.
But I'm like, man, that's my guy. And then I tried to emulate a lot of his dunks, jumping from the foul line with the one knee up and the other knee so far back that your heel is touching your butt and you in the air like this.
That one.
Man, I tried to emulate all his dunks and shit. And then got to the league, playing against Kempers. Oh man, put me in the basket. Oh, my feelings is hurt.
He got you bad?
Huh? Who didn't he get nice?
Oh man.
Who didn't he get nice?
You joined some good company, yeah.
Oh yeah, I joined. Hey.
This guy, when you talk about athlete, that's why when you get to comparing it to athletes, it puzzles me because Shawn Kemp was a freak athlete. Unbelievable. At his size, 6'10", who could fly like that and with the power to go with it, was incredible.
However, you just called Vince Carter the greatest dunker of all time. Well, the next 2 players that you have picked as a matchup might disagree with you. Who do you got
they're
next?
in the conversation. So let me take you early 90s Rensselaer, Indiana, BC camp. Shawn Kemp wins the dunk contest when I was there, and he literally jumped over a car and landed on the ground. I'm not talking about what Blake did where he dunked and landed on the car. He ran and jumped over the car and dunked it. At 6'10", you've heard some comparisons of Zion, a guy with like size and athleticism that we haven't seen. And how about how he cradled it against Alton Liston right there? Who got the camera? And when we talk about the alley-oop, and me and Perk just voiced something over about that on SportsCenter, he and Gary Payton, anytime they out on the break, you already know what's coming. Look at that. You already know what's coming, and you can't stop the rain when it starts to fall. The Rain Man has to be in this conversation.
How good was Shawn Kemp in high school?
Incredible, man. Incredible to watch.
Yeah.
Really, incredible to watch because he was so athletic. He was a 6'10" Vince Carter.
Oof.
Yeah, he was.
That's a great way to explain it.
The elevation, the hang time, the explosion, all of that. He was a 6'10" Vince Carter. Yeah, he really was.
That's a great way to put that. I never heard it like that.
He was.
Just think about Vince is 6'6".
Yeah.
6'10".
Vince Carter.
He moved like a guard almost when he was in the air. Yeah, he made that shit look sweet. Yeah,
the hang time, walking through the air, all of that stuff.
I just connected with him last week.
You seen him?
Yeah, no, we talking on the phone now because he sent me his number through Instagram. Said he want to come on the show. He said he been watching.
Man, that's great, man.
Yeah, so
you should, man.
And he's back in the cannabis space too.
You should put him on the show. You should get Billy on the show.
Yeah,
Billy.
Shawn, it was really great. He's like a little brother to me, but he's bigger, But people don't know how good he really was. He was really good. And me and him became a duo like this because we were together so long, and we hung out with each other. and we've seen each other, and we was around each other all the time. It was just like we were real brothers. And for me to play with him for 8 years, it was just a magnificent. I think if he wouldn't have left, he would be in the Hall of Fame with me right now. I really do think that. I think that he left too soon. We had something going, and you know how basketball goes. It gets into these contract things and all that stuff, and I just think that this guy was better than a lot of people really don't understand. I think that with the Barkleys, all these guys, the Karl Malones, the Tim Duncans, this guy was one of them.
Blake Griffin or the Rain Man, Shawn Kemp. Now, I have a quiet love for Shawn Kemp because I played with him as a young player in Seattle, and I saw some of the most unbelievable, impossible feats in practice that you ever want to see. And every now and then, he would show us on the basketball court. Now, Shawn Kemp was a man-child, came straight out of high school, and Shawn in his career averaged 14 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, shot 48%. Blake Griffin, 6 years in the league right now, averaging about 21 points a game, shoots 52%, grabs 10 rebounds, and averages about 3.5 assists. Now, the comparison is kind of distorted because Shawn Kemp was tremendous on the court, but his production went down because of his inability to understand how to handle himself off the court.
They swarm into that double. They do the baseline. Now Kemp going to the hoop. Now that is
So that's the name of that we didn't mention in the first segment that we mentioned here in the what if category. And you look at the career of Shawn Kemp.
Original Lob City.
Yeah.
Gary Payton and
Some of
Shawn
the
Kemp,
greatest-
I may let them say they was the originators of that.
Some of the greatest in-game dunks.
It was a what? It's
you'd
not
ever
really
seen.
a what if. He really was he had it, and we saw it.
And yet, but do you think you saw all that you could have seen of that career?
I don't think we've seen anyone dunk with that type of
force,
animosity. You know, just like, oh! You know, just like, it was just like you had.
It was personal against the rim.
As Steve said, you know, today the way he dunks, it would be a 5-game suspension. just the way he dunked.
And
you know,
yeah.
The point.
When we bring these guys up, it's not always because of an injury or something catastrophic that happens that cuts it short. Circling back to Kemp, it was like he had all of this going on, and then suddenly
got hungry.
He's twice the man he used to be.
He got hungry.
And not in a point in his career where it was over. He still had years left. What was your take on where he went from this to this, and the numbers then begin to dwindle?
Well, we saw them in the '96 finals, and watching Rodman and Kemp go at it was incredible. But I think that was when Shawn was at the height of his powers. And then I played with Shawn a few years later in Portland, about 2001. And I think it was just the lockout. You know, a lot of guys need the game and need the structure of practicing and workouts. And the lockout happened, and he came back probably 50 pounds overweight. And I don't think he was ever able to recover from that.
But he doesn't seem like, if you look at guys' bodies, you go, well, he's a guy I never have to worry about working out.
Yeah.
He's a guy I I got to watch him. But Shawn Kemp, and the way he was built and the way he looked, you would say that would never be an issue for him, weight. And that was so surprising that, you know, weight was an issue for him. And, you know, unfortunately, we realized probably, I think some of those other demons off the court affected him to gain the weight.
Right.
But it just showed, even at it, when he was heavy, 50 pounds overweight, he was like, I'm still a great jump shooter. You know, that's the difference when people say, you know, Blake Griffin. I said, well, you've never really seen Shawn Kemp, because the one thing you could not do against him is back off him.
Yeah.
Because his 15-foot jump shot was just as good as his dunk.
To your point, Ken, he was rolling in Cleveland, even with the weight.
With the weight. And he made the All-Star team. You know,
so we saw him.
Right.
I think we saw him.
But this is a what-if moment, Ernie, that you're talking about, where it could be one of those scenarios where it's too much too soon. Shawn Kemp was 20 years old when he came into the league, was playing for the Sonics. The team was starting to build itself up. up with Gary Payton as the point guard, and then all of a sudden they sort of struck lightning in a bottle with George Karl being the coach, their style of play where they were trapping, and then they had a bunch of veteran guys like Detlef Schrempf and Hershey Hawkins and Dale Ellis and all these guys around them. But Shawn Kemp and Gary were the face of the franchise, and all of these things came so fast for a guy out of nowhere to come into the league, be that young, and all those things happen that maybe it wasn't altogether there off the floor. So we did get a glimpse of that, but maybe it's a what if, too much too soon scenario that has played out in professional sports for decades.
And the next clip is a pretty recent one, and actually one of the nicest scenes of NBA basketball that I've seen in the last couple of years, where Dirk Nowitzki was surprised by his former idols, or not former, but his idols, and of course Shawn Kemp was missing, and Dirk Nowitzki used that opportunity to give some warm words to his idols.
Another guy I love to watch, Shawn Kemp. Just his athleticism, he was probably one of the best in-game dunkers that we've seen in our league. Just super athletic and crazy finishes around the rim. So I love watching him play as well.
27th anniversary of Shawn Kemp.
No.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Woo!
Sorry, Mr.
Now,
Lister.
see, this is who I compare Zion to. Shawn Kemp.
Wow.
If you ever wondered why Kemp pointed at Lister post-dunk, it was because in Game 2 of Warriors-Sonics, Lister pushed Kemp on a dunk attempt, resulting in, let's just call it a brouhaha between both players. So you kind of got to like the pettiness here, right?
So, our great producer, Steve, brought this to me today. I'm like, why do I not remember this? I looked at the date. It was April 23rd, 1992. My daughter was 4 weeks old.
Aww.
I was not sleeping, and I was definitely not watching
NBA basketball.
I'm like, sorry I missed this. This is a gaping hole in my NBA knowledge.
But no, it was just, ooh and ahhing. It was like, that was the first time I actually said to myself, now I know how these other cats feel when I was playing against them in college and high school and jumping out the gym. Yeah. And you got to put your head on the swivel to see where they're coming from. Yeah. Man, that's how I was with him. I was so nervous against him and Pat Ewing. Pat Ewing was my idol. Yeah. It was Dr. J when I was a young boy, and Pat Ewing when I started playing basketball, and then, moved to Kemp because of his athleticism. Yeah. I was like, man, that motherfucker right there, he was nice. Then GP just, and he's like, man, who the hell? Oh!
So he was your idol, huh?
Yeah, dog.
Indiana kid.
Oh, I know.
Indiana kid.
Kind of I don't know if loner is a word, but he was independent a lot of the team. And he kind of had his own way of doing things. Sometimes it battled the coach, being late. He was a late guy, which drives coaches crazy. But fortunately, I never let that stop me from playing him. Fortunately, I had good assistant coaches. Make sure whatever you do, make sure he plays.
People don't know how freaking good Shawn Kemp was, man. I remember him in high school. We was the same class in high school. I wish y'all could have seen this dude in high school. Because Alonzo Mourning was considered the #1 player in the country that year. And Shawn, he would be me, Shawn, Allen Houston, we were all hanging out. And Shawn one day says, I can't stand that motherfucker. We're like, what is he talking about? He ain't better than me. And this was the first time I ever seen someone got so fucking motivated because he went out the next game.
Who did he say that to?
He was talking about Alonzo. This dude come down one time, Shawn Kemp. I never seen somebody this big, handling rock. Takes off from the free throw line, dunks on Zoe, and be like, that's why I'm the best motherfucking player in the country. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, all right.
The highest jumping individual you've ever played with? Ever. What was Shawn Kemp? If we had to guesstimate his vertical, what would you think his vertical would be? Oh, this some real shit, y'all. This ain't no sauce. This is real shit.
You know what?
A 60?
KG probably up there, man. You know who say, me and you played with him in the Olympics?
Vince Carter.
See, I think them the two dudes that we already played for, they probably up in that era of where they can go get it like that, and they'll just do some stupid stuff. Them was one of the two best dudes I ever played and jump high. And when we was on that video, when he went up and dunked on that dude, when me and you was sitting right there and we looking at that boy went up and up like Superman.
An all-star here for 3 years.
On your rookie contract, you were an all-star.
On my rookie's contract, I was an all-star 3 times. The way I left Milwaukee was through a trade, which led to a deal being struck where I was traded to the Seattle Supersonics for Shawn Kemp. I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. Like, I was a big fan of the Rain Man in the glove, man. When I got traded to the Sonics, man, I'm like, wait a minute, man, no more Rain Man. I don't dunk like that. So they're going to automatically get a shock to their system when they see how many finger rolls I do.
You know what's going on. Point out. Hey! Oh, the old Coliseum. I see what's going on.
Man,
Hey,
that's
listen.
what it was going down, and you know.
Yeah, it was going down that
that's good
Coliseum.
stuff right there, bro.
Come on, man, hands up. What we got? Oh, see, hey, Q, he was one of the rare ones that could jump off 1 or 2 feet. It didn't matter with him. Just throw it up there.
And then he was Nerf hooping it before they knew what Nerf hooping that was. He was dunking that thing like a Nerf hoop. Look at
Look. Oh!
Look, 2 hands for safety. Gave him the swag sauce at the end of it.
He bring that sauce to it.
Oh, wait, watch your head, Rick Fox. Oh, goodness.
Hand. Oh,
look, that's the Nerf hoop. That's the Nerf hoop action. Look.
Hey, do you know how you can just throw it?
Look at us.
Look.
Hey!
As he attracted crowds in high school with his sensational style, Shawn still has the rare ability to grab his audience.
You know, he's a highlight film. If you really sit there and watch him long enough, he's going to do something spectacular every game.
On the break, here comes Kemp. Oh, it floats high into the air. Here comes the runaway slam jam, a thundering jam.
How about that for a solo?
Gets back to Kemp. Look at that jam.
The excitement that he brings is something extraordinary, I think, because you could sense it early on in his career at the Garden when he dribbles and just busts right into the lane, double pumps back to the basket, and whack.
Oh my gosh! Holy smoke! Here's Kemp again. What a move!
With his rookie year, we was at home in Seattle, and he jumped from one side of the lane, and he cocked it and brought it all the way back to the other side of the lane.
Oh, what a thundering reverse baby cradle right-handed jam!
And we were all on the bench like, damn, did you see that?
You know, it's funny. I got hip to. I'm just his idol. Okay. No. I got hip to Kemp, and this is a crazy story. My high school played against Shawn Kemp's high school in 1988, and my high school beat their high school for the championship.
Oh shit!
And Kemp was just such a man child. You know, I graduated high school in '94, so in '98 I was probably. I was in 6th, 7th grade. 6th, 7th grade.
6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, grade. Wow. 6th, 7th grade.
He hadn't graduated yet.
And I remember.
No, not talking like that.
And I remember going to the high school games. Yeah. Yeah. But I remember going to the games, and I was trying to follow basketball. I was just really getting into basketball, and I remember we was making our high school run. Our neighborhood. It's called Muncie Central. And we was making our run, and this is '88, and I remember we was like, man, we gotta play Shawn Kemp. Oh man, shit, it's over with. It's over with, man. Kemp came out, probably had 6 dunks. The first 2 quarters. I'm talking about dunking on us. I'm talking about he's 16, live, dunking, doing. I was like, oh God, and we ended up beating him down the stretch. And I was just saying to myself, like, man, if that's what pros look like, man, golly, man, I don't know.
My work cut out for me.
It was scary. It was scary. And just kind of watching his career and just seeing how he just dominated. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kemp was long, you know what I'm saying? Spade black, cut up, you know what I'm saying? Had the perfect box, you know what I'm saying? Shorty boy box. He used to go up here. And
aerodynamic.
You know what I'm saying? Aerodynamic. And he had that look like he was dead serious, wasn't playing with you. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't smiling much.
Indiana look.
You know what I'm saying? Then he'd do the antics. You know what I'm saying? Get to doing something crazy. And, I always looked up to him, but I never got a chance to meet him. And then when he came to play for the Blazers, man, it was like the best thing for me personally, being in Indiana. He was one of our guys. He was like an idol. Mm-hmm. Him and Glenn Robinson for me growing up. Indiana boys. They were my idols in basketball. Getting a chance to play with him, man, and just being around him. And this was, you know, his vertical wasn't the same when he got to Portland.
No, yeah, he was on the downside of his career.
His vertical wasn't the same, but great dude, man, cool, and just being around him, man, just funny as hell.
Yeah.
Like, Kemp was probably one of the funniest dudes in the world, man. And you know what I'm saying? But just seeing him and his career, man, he's probably one of the best to ever do it at the power forward spot.
And got some stories for your ass. And then he was a good veteran, you know.
Great vet.
Just with me just talking to him, and, you know, he pointing shit out on the floor and, you know, different little shit, times and schemes, because, again, I'm a young boy. I'm still trying to get where he already went. You know, he been to them conference finals and all that. So, you know, it was like, man, all right, let me just soak this knowledge up, you know, sit back. And like Bonzi said, no, he a funny one. What makes him funny is his antics and shit.
Oh, man.
So he gonna give you everything.
Facial expressions.
Good dude, though. That's my guy. Shout out to Kempers.
Then you land on the Seattle Supersonics team, and you're the second youngest player on the team. The only one guy that is younger than you is Shawn Kemp. Did you guys click right away, or did it take some time?
We clicked right away. As soon as I got in there, I walked up to Shawn and I told Shawn, we're the two youngsters that they drafted back-to-back years. He was in '89, I was in '90. They was investing in us, and I told him, me and him has to get on the same page and do the things. It took us 2 years to get to where we wanted to get to, and the style of basketball that we wanted to play. So that was the thing that we just had to work at. And then once we got George Karl, our coach, that became our centerpiece to become who we were, the Rain Man and the Glove.
When you were playing for the Seattle Supersonics and Shawn Kemp arrived, I mean, you guys already had a very interesting team at that time, and then you got Shawn Kemp. What was your first thought when you saw Shawn talent-wise?
I didn't know what to think. You could see that he had some talent. But I didn't know he was going to develop the way he did, as quick as he did. I only had the opportunity to play with Shawn for 1 year, but I was able to follow his career. I ended up getting traded. I left and went to Milwaukee. But it would have been fun to run up and down the court with Shawn. You're playing with guys like Gary, Payton, Shawn Kemp. It's going to be easy to play the game as well as a shooter because so much attention is focused on Gary pushing the ball down the floor and Shawn getting wide open dunks. So coaches will have their team sprint back to the baseline, which will allow shooters to get wide open. So it'll be interesting playing with Shawn.
This guy is like a hurricane. I mean, you can see him coming a mile away. You can see a storm building on the horizon. You feel his breeze before he gets there, and when he gets here, he rains down on you. I mean, it is as simple as that.
He went airborne, defied gravity, laid it down with two hands, baby. What a play! The Rain Man is struck.
Big, strong, and incredibly agile, Kemp uses the court like a runway for his personal air raids.
The interception off to the races. Get on the magic carpet and ride it home.
I consider myself an entertainer, and yeah, I do things for the crowd. I'll make a spectacular play if it's possible, if it's something I can do through the course of the game.
Temple run across midcourt, dribbles by Johnson to the gut. A thundering overhead slam. What a play! Holy cow!
Like Elgin, Dr. J, and Dominique before him, Kemp has come to inhabit that special zone that is reserved for the NBA's highest flyers.
You really can't put it into words, but what you can do is just say that little time that you're in there and you're having that little excitement. You hear nothing. You hear no fans in the background. There's no officials in a way. I tell you, it's the best feeling because it's the silence.
So many Sonic jerseys, Jeff. It's really wild to see. And look what he's wearing as he comes out. That is cool.
Walking out, hearing the crowd, wearing the Kemp jersey here.
Oh man, it's when I woke up from my pregame nap, it was just
I was just nervous. You know, I never felt that way coming into a game, especially a preseason game. But just knowing this whole thing was kind of set up for that moment, I guess. It was just a crazy feeling to come out and feel that much love from the fan base, and to honor one of the past legends of the game, and also a Sonic legend was pretty.
So, but now turning to the future, since Kemp, I have 3 names I can think of, but I want to hear you first. Who in today's game kind of reminds you of Kemp?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not a big fan of big guys, post-up big guys, because it's such a low-efficient game. So it's going to be a guy that can score points out facing the basket out front. You're going to have to help me. Throw some names at me, and I'll say yes or no.
So the first one, he doesn't play anymore, but in his prime, I think offensively, defensively, Kemp was a much better defender. But Amari Stoudemire offensively reminded me a lot of Kemp.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Not as big as Shawn, but was very effective outside and inside. It was a hell of a runner.
He had the vacuum hands too.
A guy named Steve Nash was pretty good with him too.
Yes, Steve Nash. He's also just a sidebar. Steve Nash is also part of the series I'm working on. He was the first part of the series. This is a 10-part series, 10 different players. But I digress on that. So the second one I had, Ivan actually gave me this idea, and I feel like Kemp, not as good of a passer, but I mean, Giannis is pretty similar to Shawn Kemp. What did you say?
When I first saw Giannis, he reminded me athletically and explosiveness and length. But, he weighed 195 pounds, so that was Shawn weighed 260. But now Giannis definitely. And Shawn struggled making his jumper early in his career, kind of like Giannis did. And yeah, I like that comparison because, Giannis went on to go to the NBA Finals and win one. And Shawn got there once. We should have gotten there at least one other time if we didn't choke away some opportunities. Yeah, I like that one better than him.
Yeah.
Today's Giannis, not, Giannis when he was younger was explosive and skinny, but not powerful. Now he's powerful, and he's probably my favorite player right now in the game.
6-time NBA All-Star. I'm a 90s basketball guy. I think it's one of the greatest eras of sports ever.
Right.
You were surprised and ran into Rodman today in the office. You guys had a hell of a rivalry, playing in the 90s and in the finals in 96. When's the last time you saw Rodman, and what'd you guys chop it up about today?
Well, I see Dennis sometimes. It shows some of his family lives in Seattle, so we still stay in contact and joke with each other a lot. Some of his kids are out there, so we joke about that stuff a lot. It's just it's always good to come to Houston and be here. Great to see you. But I think me and Dennis mostly just talk about just having a good time, man, having fun, putting smiles on each other's faces. We seem to pop up a lot of places in the autograph shows and stuff, but just always good times with us, man.
Yeah, both you guys are full of energy and fan favorites. What was it like battling against him in 1996 finals? Sonics versus Bulls. I mean, that was one of the greatest eras of basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to take you back, I've been knowing Dennis for a long time. Back even when he was playing for the Pistons, when he won 3 rings, his first 3 rings, I got a chance to meet him back then. He's been a great guy back then, but to play against him, man, he's simply one of the best. And when I mean that, he is. We played against him in 96 in the championship with Jordan. I thought that Michael Jordan was the MVP, but Dennis Rodman should have been the MVP, I thought, because he played the best on our team. He's the one that really, really hurt us as a team-wise. We had no control for Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, yes, sir. So 1989, you're drafted out of high school.
Right.
I think before you, Moses Malone, right?
Yeah, there was only one other player that came out before me, which was Moses Malone. He was actually the first player to play in the NBA, but he actually played a little bit in the ABA before he got to the NBA. I'm actually the first player to go just from my high school to the actual pros.
That's actually, it's pretty unbelievable. It's unheard of. And you came in the game and you started dominating right away.
Right.
I was actually watching the highlights of you yesterday, and you literally dunked on and embarrassed everyone.
Right.
I mean, you could jump out of the gym.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that was kind of my intent. My intent was like just to take this challenge on, and you don't know anybody when you're coming in that young, so you just want to like challenge every single person, and that's kind of what I did then.
Yeah, you did do that. I mean, and there were some clips that were like, you should have seen Shawn Kemp in high school.
Right.
I mean, this dude was smashing on everybody. It transitioned to the league. You took the statement of posterizing people to a whole nother level. You would come down on a fast break, and at any time, at anywhere, GP's throwing the ball up to you, and you're just smashing it down, embarrassing anyone in the way.
Absolutely. And I think, we've done that generally for us to have success, but also for the fans to have a lot of fun with the game. And that's what it's about. I think you go out there, you play this game, but you also want people to be attracted to the game and put smiles on their faces. So you want to play this game with a certain style, and you want to be attracting to the fans when they'll come back and see more.
Yeah, you definitely knew how to bring the energy and get the fans involved in it.
Those first 8 or 9 years that I had was pretty good, pretty solid. Pretty solid. And also, I will tell you this: I'm a 6-time All-Star, so that's those 6 games that I started. You know who I had to beat out. That was Charles. That's Karl Malone. That's every year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty consistent basketball.
Right.
I will say this though: me going through some problems and stuff that I went through in my career also hurts you at the end. But I think when you look at the good side of it and you compare the numbers and stuff, I'm right there with some of the best ones. Absolutely.
Would you mind opening up and sharing and talking about them problems? We don't have to if you don't want to. But
well, I'm not afraid to talk about it. I mean, obviously, I think anytime that your body shape goes from this to that, or you gain weight, or you have some drug problems, and anything like that is always going to be highlighted. You know what I'm saying? So I understand you have those marks against you, but the dominance, I think, of what I played with through those early years of my career, I think it should definitely be highlighted, without a doubt.
I came from 2 parents that were functioning drug addicts. I grew up in it, seen it. Dad sold it. Were there times where you were out there at your best, making all-star appearances and being great, leading your team when you were on drugs?
No, not necessarily on drugs. I believe when my drug issues probably came, man, it was more when things started to go sideways. When I was having some problems with the organization.
Okay.
So I think. As far as I was concerned, when you put so much into the game of basketball, when you say that you're going to become the best, when you say that you're going to become dominant, it takes a lot of time, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of effort.
Right.
And I don't think what people realize, I don't even try to make them realize this, but I will just say this. At the time of playing basketball in the 90s was a very physical sport, man. Right. It wasn't a weak man sport. Only the strong survived.
Right.
And that's you want to compete at those best levels. So I don't think drugs really came into factor to me until probably when I started to lose. When you start to lose, your life changed.
Yeah.
So the one thing and I tell you guys, it's the one thing that I kind of regret about back then is that I'll say this is that playing with Gary Payton, we had this great friendship, this great camaraderie, where we won so many games, winning 50, 60 games a year. Sometimes when you start to look at things as far as it's financial, sometimes you put that ahead of what you have chemistry-wise. I tell Gary this all the time, if I could go back and change a few things, both of us would probably work on being with each other, playing with each other a little bit longer than what we did.
You guys set the bar. What's the story? So I did voiceovers for this show called Real Stories of Basketball, and it was when they brought old boy in that averaged like 4 points and 2 rebounds in. And
McIlvain, yeah.
McIlvain. So I did the voiceover for that. See, you talked on it and everything. So I did the voiceover for that, and obviously I was younger when that happened, so I didn't really. I was like, damn, why would he leave? But I read how they came in for years. Don't know, like they came in and gave Jim McIlvain, someone who didn't play, didn't do anything, a bunch of money.
Right.
This dude led the team in rebounds, scoring to the playoffs, and he was making more than Shawn. So you at the time, right? So that and maybe some more things, but like I said, that's kind of what I got from.
But I think to me, it wasn't necessarily about the money. It's more about the
respect. Right? Come on, man. Come on, man.
It takes great effort.
Absolutely.
To compete with the best every day, every night, and when you do that consistently for year after year after
you need
year
to be rewarded
after year,
for that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think, and I'm just telling you this, when I look at it now, I look at it back and I'm probably, as a young man, you're going through that, you probably take it personally.
Yeah.
In life and in business, one of the things that you don't do is take things personally.
Yeah.
Once you take it personally, it's going to affect not only who you are, but also what you do. And
I say, with all due respect, it's hard not to. And in no way do I want people to make it think like you were mad about someone else getting money. That wasn't what I got from it. What it was the respect factor. What you had accomplished with that team, you deserved more than what you were.
Well, I think that's what you do when you're a player.
Come on, man.
You're working for that. That's what those steps. Those are the things that you're working for. And man, I was one of those guys who kind of went in there and was just like, hey, what do I need to do to become, the best? What do I need to do to become one of the highest paid? And I can remember the conversation. The general manager came to me, and he was like, well, if you want to be one of the highest paid, then all you gotta do is go out there and outplay Michael Jordan.
To me personally, not only being a huge Shawn Kemp fan, having spoken to the guy, love the guy, it's very unfortunate and to me also disrespectful not to have this guy in the Hall of Fame. The thing is, too many people only focus on the dunks, and he was a good rebounder, good shot blocker, good defender. He was a great player. Just because of his off-the-court demons, people don't give him the credit that he deserves. I hate that. And with all the players that we have seen in the Hall of Fame, how can you not have a player that was one of the best players in a great era in the 90s, being one of the best players like for 6 to 7 years? I mean, come on, we have some other players who were not even close to Shawn Kemp's skill level. Anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments below, how much love do you have for the Rain Man? Post it underneath the comments, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.